Wow, what do you know? It's time for the Pocket Knife Show. Hey, it's Mike on the mic again for another episode of the Pocket Knife Podcast. One of my favorite TV shows a few years ago was the police drama Blue Bloods. As one who grew up watching a young Tom Selleck play Thomas Magnum, the pretty boy private investigator on Magnum PI, seeing the older Selleck in a more mature role took a little getting used to. I'm not sure how many seasons of the new show I watched on Netflix before CBS moved it to their own app, but I've seen a lot of Frank Reagan and his kids. One of the more interesting plot vehicles for me centered around Selleck's character's interactions with his chief of staff, a character named Garrett Moore. These two hardly ever saw eye to eye on an issue when it first arose. Seriously, they couldn't agree on anything at times, and they weren't subtle about the distance between them. They'd yell at each other, accuse each other of blindness, cuss at each other, throw things across the room. It was ugly. I learned something important about relationships from these fiery disagreements. It wasn't how to get nasty in conversation with an opponent. It was how to get along despite difficulties. Now I know that the twists and turns in every discussion these two engaged in was scripted. They were as mean to each other as the director wanted them to be, and the writers gave them words when, late in the episode, they came back together and worked things out. Even knowing fiction is too perfect, I saw how friends can endure conflict and not lose love for one another. In the New Testament, we can see real-life bonds tested by life's troubles and remain strong. I'm thinking of Paul's disagreement with Barnabas about what to do with John Mark after the man abandoned them on the first journey that he had started with them. Barnabas urged Paul to give the young man a second chance. Paul refused. They parted ways for a time, but eventually came back together. And Paul, it's at least hinted at, eventually acknowledges his mistake in excluding Mark. Listen to what he says about the guy in 2 Timothy 4:11. Get Mark and bring him with you, because he is helpful to me in my ministry. I had a tough conversation with a friend the other day. It wasn't the ugliest of tiffs, but it was uncomfortable at times. I said things I felt needed to be said. I listened to rebuttals of my arguments. We went back and forth until we were at peace. It was just like Frank and Garrett. I don't know what hard conversations with fellow believers you've been putting off, but I urge you to go have them. Pray like crazy as you prepare to meet. I asked God to keep my mouth from speaking even one word that didn't need to be said. Pray while you're talking. Ask the Spirit to help you discern His truth in what the other is saying. Pray when you're done, maybe even out loud with your friend. It's interesting to me that Jesus gives instructions about dealing with conflict more than once, and He lays the responsibility for reconciliation on His follower, whether they've been wronged or they've been the wronger. Listen to these two passages. Matthew 5:23 and 24. If you are offering your gift at the altar and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them, then come offer your gift. And then there's Matthew 18:15. If your brother or sister sins, go and point out their fault just between the two of you. If they listen to you, you have won them over. In both passages, the onus is on me to go to my brother or to go to my sister. If I've sinned, if my friend has something against me, I have to go and seek reconciliation. If he's at fault or she's sinned, it's still on me to seek peace. I'm really glad I had the rough and tumble powwow with my friend the other day. We left understanding each other better. We still didn't see eye to eye on the topic at hand, but we were at peace. I thank God for His Spirit's help and guidance throughout. I thank God for showing me what friendship in conflict could be through a character named Frank. May you and I be frank with each other. Oh no, it's sad I know we've come to the end of the show. See you next time.